By now, I'm sure most of you have either seen the 60th anniversary special on ABC or have seen the images shown for the upcoming Star Wars land. This reveal was meant to be the big moment in the show, and while we did get some new concept art to look at, I kind of feel like there was less to learn than I had hoped from the images we got. So let's take a look at each one and see what details or information that we can infer. They open with this image, one we've all seen a million times by now, but we do now have a little more context of the environment based on this next image. In the previous image, the Falcon is in a wide open area, but now we're seeing that it's in a more closely placed section of the land. And it looks like it could even be an entrance maybe. And I'm curious to know what that very large building in the background might be. Is that just background, or can we go in there? Wild guess and total speculation on my part, but this feels like a Carthay Theater type deal to me. But there were two details here that really caught my eye. First, there's a kid with Mickey ears. Now, that's a guest, right? Therefore, should we infer that we'll be walking ourselves that close as guests to the Millennium Falcon? There's also that ramp where two people appear to be loading something onto the Falcon. Again, are we meant to infer that we can walk up that ramp ourselves? I don't know, but we do know one thing. We will be flying the Falcon. We're definitely going to be getting this view, which is the pilot seat of the Millennium Falcon. The few seconds of footage that we saw suggests heavily that this is a simulator of the Star Tours type. I believe, though, that guests will also have the ability to take control of the guns, and you can shoot down bad guys. Interesting. That's kind of new. I wonder if it's anything like Voyage to the Iron Reef over at Knott's Berry Farm. This next shot looks to be what I'm thinking is a screen cap from another attraction, a second attraction, presumably the one going into that huge space we saw in the overhead image Mice Chat put up a while back. This suggests, again, another kind of simulator, which is kind of making me nervous. Again, I'm assuming simulator because I doubt highly that they're going to be putting live stormtroopers on a stage for us to take our ride through, so that's got to be a filmed image. Now, this next image shows two guests, I'm assuming from an animatic that they created to, sort of demo the attraction. And it suggests that there is at least some movement, not a static box like Star Tours, which I simply do not like. I'm thinking maybe this is something like the Transformers ride at Universal. But I'm wondering, does a ride like that require such an enormous building, though? There's something different happening here, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. One thing I think we can say, though, is that this is not a roller coaster. Well, but then maybe it still could be. I mean, the Mummy ride, again, at Universal, did a pretty good job of mixing this kind of simulation, this kind of projected background, and including also practical effects into an actual roller coaster. I mean, it's a short one, the roller coaster is, the Mummy ride, but that's okay. I don't need it to be a full-on classic roller coaster myself. I just want something practical, something with movement, something that creates energy as opposed to just, a ride in a box. And, it's funny, actually. This brings to mind a thought. Okay, so J.J. Abrams and Disney made a really big deal about how they were going to go back to practical effects for the new Star Wars film. Not so much CGI. Boy, Lucas, you really screwed it up with all that CGI. And then what do we get? Why can't that translate into attractions? Why can't we get more practical attractions at Disneyland? Why are we leaning on CGI, 3D simulators? So that's just something to think about. Hopefully they can learn from that, before they get fully into development. Hopefully that they are going to be putting some practical effects, or a lot of practical effects, hopefully, in at least one of these. I'm settling on one simulator. I just don't want two. Please don't give me two. Now let's get into the concept art for the rest of the park. This shot, which I think we've seen before as well, gives us a long view at what is likely an entrance to Star Wars Land. Probably from maybe Frontierland, where Frontierland meets Fantasyland, that kind of spot. There's not much to learn from this one, I don't think. But now this one does have me curious. Where are we? What are we doing here? Is that a shop that those stormtroopers are walking into? I'm kind of curious, like, the placement here. It does appear to be indoors, though, right? There is light coming from the middle left of the frame, so I'm guessing guests can enter from there. Then we walk through, what, like an indoor mall of sorts? That would actually be kind of fun, I think. I'd like to see that. Something, a strip of shops and places to eat that are indoors. This image gives a little more perspective and context. It feels kind of like a main street, really. And I'm wondering how much of that detail that we're seeing, like, you can see kind of like hanging pots and street vendors with stuff out on the street. How much of that is practical? Because I'm guessing, guests are going to be putting their hands all over that stuff, right? I mean, is that going to be, fixed into the scenery? Or, I mean, is that, I don't know. Are we going to be able to interact with any of that, I guess is what I'm saying. And there also looks like there's a lot of entrances to shops or shop-looking places. I would guess that some of them are practical entrances, while some are just for decoration, kind of like, some of the doors you see on Main Street today. This excites me, though. Hopefully we'll be getting a level of detail and character that is being represented in these two images. This is another entrance, I believe, but the entrance is in the upper middle of the frame. You can see some light and some steps there. Going through what looks like some kind of like temple or archway. My belief that this is the entrance from the path along the Hungry Bear, where the Hungry Bear would be somewhere behind those trees that we see in the top of the picture. The Rivers of America then would probably be somewhere out of frame, just to the left, out of the picture. I would say just try to imagine the Hungry Bear being, I don't know, 100 yards back and to the left, maybe? Notice, by the way, in most all of these images, all the trees and the plants and the overall organic nature of the land. Many people assumed, I think, that because this was Star Wars based, that it would be all spacey and stuff, and it wouldn't make any sense to put it next to Frontierland. But I mean, really, that's kind of silly. Hopefully, they'll see from these photos that it'll ease them up just a little bit, because Star Wars is not just space stuff. As a matter of fact, it's hardly in space at all when you think about it. We do, though, get this image that suggests that there will still be an Imperial element to the land, as that is an Imperial shuttle, and those are a whole bunch of stormtroopers. And this is naturally a less organic, less lived in, a colder land. But I'm curious, actually. I'm glad that they did this, though, because I didn't want just one environment. I like the idea of mixing, an Imperial presence with, I don't know, what you would call it, rebels or alliance or whatever. But I'm curious to see how this mixes in with the rest of the land. So this is the cantina, I'm guessing. Not the cantina that we know from A New Hope, necessarily, but I mean, I get why they didn't copy that. The cantina in Star Wars is a dump. There's nothing to look at, or, I mean, we would feel a sense of nostalgia for it, but it's not pleasant to look at naturally. So I get why they added, the whole fish tank looking thing there with the girl floating around there. I wonder if they're going to put... That's got to be some sort of, animatronic or prop, I'm assuming. I'm really hoping, though, that this is counter service, and I'm really hoping that we'll be served by aliens. And I say this because it's a real possibility. I can't remember if it was a rumor that I heard that, or something from a text that I read, but they were talking about casting for aliens for the new land. That the cast members were going to be in character. Which, that has not been done before. That has never been done before. I mean, they are in character in Disneyland today, but they're human character, right? So they're, all they have to do is put on the outfit. Hopefully, we'll get cast members in makeup, in full alien gear. That would be really, really cool. And I'll say this: as we go through this, there's real hope for that, because I think there's only one image out of all of these that show actual guests. Everything in here is aliens and cast members or characters from the movies. No cat or no guests in these pictures except for that one kid with the ears, which suggests to me that there is a concerted effort to put cast members in the scene, in the setting. Crossing my fingers on that one. Now, I don't know what's going on here, like at all. Is this a restaurant? Who is that lady and what is she doing? My best guess, I guess, I don't know, it's a dinner theater maybe? There's no place to sit, though, in this image, so I don't know if that's right or not, and it looks like you're just walking around and observing, so I'm not sure what we're looking at here. Here's another curiosity, definitely a restaurant, though. Not sure if it would be table service or counter service. There are tables lining the middle of the frame and booths, scattered around that. My guess is table service, but what's curious is that they've put some kind of creature in the middle, and I think he's maybe playing music. It looks like he's playing an instrument of some kind. Like, I wonder if this will be, like Chuck E. Cheese style, which I'd be okay with that if it were. I kind of like that idea. I want to be able to observe something. I'm sure it'll be better technically than a Chuck E. Cheese show, but still, I wouldn't mind a show that pops up every 10 or 15 minutes. They play a little music, then it shuts down, and you watch it again. That would be really neat. Also, C-3PO. I'm not sure what he's doing here. He's in a kind of like an MC's post there, I guess. I don't know. Is he like a host? I don't know. Curious, though. And finally, these last two images have me kind of baffled. This first image, nowhere in Disneyland can you find a place like this to sit. I mean, it looks like a bar to me, maybe like an airport waiting lounge or something, but those are comfortable looking chairs. For one person to sit, kind of couchy looking. That doesn't exist in Disneyland. So to me, it feels like this could be something, again, like a Carthay Theater. Maybe that is what is in that building we saw behind the Millennium Falcon. Clearly, she's drinking something. Those are drinks, and it has a very bougie quality to it. So I'm assuming this is a place where you go to get your $15 alcohol, perhaps. Oh, God, no, not alcohol, but, well, I don't know. Maybe it is. Who could say? That looks like a martini. All I'm saying, looks like a martini. But this is not a place for like a counter service restaurant, I would guess. Same for this one. I'm confused by this one, mostly because I can't tell at all what's happening here. It looks like a Titanic-type flight of stairs, when Rose walks down those steps. That's what that reminds me of. You got aliens and droids, no guests, again, like I saw before, or we said before, and no seats, no place to sit. So it's got to be a show, I guess, like a live show. Hopefully that is the case, because none of these other images suggested a show, except for that one with a lady standing in the middle. I don't know what she's doing there. But I'm guessing we're looking at some kind of live show here. And that's it, guys. Those are all the new images from the 60th anniversary show for Star Wars Land. This should hold us over for at least a little while. Hopefully we'll get more stuff to chew on in the coming months. But in the meantime, Fresh Baked, what are your thoughts? Are you cool with 2 simulators? That's a big question for me. Do you need a legit roller coaster in your Star Wars Land? And what about a bougie dining area like Carthay Theater? Are you okay with having that? Because that seems to upset some people when they feel like they're being excluded, either intentionally by having it private or by pricing out a large percentage of the guest population. Anyway, let us know in the comments below, Fresh Baked, and until next time, Fresh Baked! We've got lots more videos for you to see, so grab a churro and check out our Star Wars Land updates from the Knothole Gang, or maybe our Secrets in History videos. Or you can just watch all of our weekly trip reports and have your mind blown by how much fun we're having. We truly are the best of Disney Baked Fresh Daily. And don't forget, you can support Fresh Baked by joining our Patreon campaign or by buying a Fresh Baked t-shirt. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Fresh Baked!